Elijah, having been promised that he would find the Lord on the mountain, left the shelter of his cave. Sure enough, God showed up, but not in the mighty gales or crashing rocks. The Lord was not even encountered in the earthquake or the fiery extravaganza. It was a tiny, whispering voice that made Elijah cover his face in the presence of the Most High. Elijah was called in the quiet. Peter and his companions were tossed about by waves and wind, and they saw the Lord as a ghost upon the water, and they were terrified. The voice over the tumult said, "Get a hold of yourselves. It is I. Do not be afraid." And Peter heard the call to cross the raging waters. And he obeyed. But daunted by the strength of the wind and his own frailty and perhaps a bit of doubt, he began to sink in fear. Even so, despite his going under, Peter was called to faith in the midst of turmoil. Some of us, I think, imagine that God is found only in the gentle whisper, the nook of isolation, the mountain of retreat and quiet. I know I did and do, and for many years I always sought after those retreat moments where you go away someplace quiet, away from everything. And indeed, the call is often heard there, far from the noise and distraction, not in turbulence, but in serenity. But, my brothers and sisters, that should not lead us to believe that the storms of life signal that God has forsaken us, that God is not there in those moments. It's too easy to suspect that terrors are graceless, and so we ignore the strongest calls made in days of strife and struggle, rather than think of fears indicate a loss of moorings. We should imagine them as opportunities for a deeper anchor. Fears rise as invitations to greater trust if we only face them and move through them. Once back in the boat, the storm past, we are able to say with a faith we didn't believe could possess, "Beyond doubt, you are the Son of God." I know members of this community who have faced such fears, diagnosed with cancer, who were able to face those fears and move through them and then make that profession of faith. Fear most often overwhelms us. It seems to me when we are in danger of losing something or someone we cling to, it is understandable that we would worry about the possibility of losing something, someone, some strength in ourselves, so reliable and so dear. But the threat of loss is the call across troubled waters. The sinking feeling may be nothing other than the recognition of our inability to walk the waters on our own. Going under despite our efforts, we finally turn our faces up more honestly, more in faith to the one who carries us. Ebbing powers and promise do not signal the end. They remind us that it is only in God that we are strong. Fright does not necessarily mean cowardice. It also invites the admission that we are wondrously dependent. Storms are, I believe, omens of deliverance as well as of disaster. If we break through to freedom in the following calm, we discover a faith in God that is so newly grounded that we need never again fear losing the cherished creatures we love. A radical faith, the daughter of dark times, finds the sun wherein all the loves we have had are illumined in the love that is light. In my ministry, I have found that faith is sort of cumulative. People who undergo different struggles, illnesses, disappointments, life stuff, they grow stronger. They have a depth of faith that can get them through anything. If fear is the last word in our love, we will communicate only fear to those we cherish. And such fear is a futile strain, as if we could walk by our puny skills on water. But fear faced and released in faith allows us to love the beloved more freely and the giver of the gift more authentically.